Welcome to our latest kitchen renovation located in the University District of Detroit. This kitchen is moody, it's earthy, and has a lot of high contrast. And I'm excited to walk you through the design details. So let's begin. So starting with the layout, when I was hired to design the space, the layout wasn't great. There was no storage, and honestly, it just felt like a space that you didn't want to be in. So a couple things that we focused on was rearranging the space, creating zones, an eating nook, and being more intentional with the location of the appliances. And considering this project was on a budget, we did keep the location of the water, which is a pro tip when you're redesigning a kitchen. Sometimes you have to leave some of the hard lines so you're maximizing on your budget when it comes to the finishes and not the relocation of your plumbing and your gas. So considering that this kitchen is very small, the architectural details really matter here. So what we did to open up the space is to remove some of the really odd details that were here before. So this was the entryway leading from the hallway into the kitchen. And there was a really funky header here, I'm not gonna lie. And once we found out that it was hollow, we definitely had to remove it. But one thing that was very impactful was in the dining room, there was a built-in bar, which fortunately we had to remove. I love built-ins, but this one had to go. And once it was removed, we were able to reclaim so much more space to build this custom tall cabinet, which now serves as their coffee station, as well as just more storage for all of their things. Another architectural element that we added is this doorway. We did widen about a foot, which, trust me, a foot doesn't seem like a lot, but it does, especially when you want to make the space feel bigger. And we also added an archway because we wanted to mimic the archways that are throughout the house. So in this kitchen, all the cabinetry is custom, and we chose to use a birch plywood. So birch plywood has a lighter tone, which adds the high contrast that we're going for. And considering we're on a budget, using birch plywood made it possible for us to make custom cabinetry. So let's talk about this space, which is our breakfast nook. If you've seen some of my latest designs, then you know that I love a built-in. And this was a moment that my clients already had chairs that were way too tall for the space and a table that was way too low for the chairs. And I instantly knew that this was a corner that they would use. So using the architectural details of the windows, we built this custom banquette made out of salvage wood trim. Yes, you heard it. With our company, we love integrating reclaimed and salvaged materials because we feel that it makes the space way more authentic. And then we finished the banquette with a custom upholstery. And for the bistro table, we went with salvage marble. And this actually is a remnant. So if you really look at the details, it has a lot of black graining, which again adds high contrast to this kitchen design. Another feature that I love about having a banquette into your space is the storage opportunities. So we were able to add a single pull-out drawer, and having the storage in the banquette not only makes this space beautiful, but also useful and intentional. So while I love open concepts, I also love defining spaces. So in order to create our eating nook, I also wanted to separate it from the main kitchen, and I did that by adding this custom shelving unit and cabinet. So the one thing I love about this particular cabinet is the microwave is actually built into this unit along with more storage, because I think storage is the ongoing theme here. And then we also designed and built this custom semi-floating shelf made out of maple. I love shelving, especially because I love to be able to quickly grab the things I need, as well as display beautiful objects. And I think with this open approach, it really helps, again, define the spaces while keeping them integrated because you have that sight line you can see through. And now for the main event, the kitchen. So again, the concept and the feeling of this space is very earthy, moody, and a lot of high contrast. And we made that high contrast with going with a dark brown tile from Zia Tile. I've been obsessed with this particular color for maybe years, so I was very excited to use it for this project. And to contrast with the backsplash, we designed and built a custom range hood using croto, which is an Italian derived word which means terracotta. So it is in this really beautiful, creamy, perfectly imperfect tile that I feel like just goes with the overall theme of the kitchen. So the countertops in this project, believe it or not, are not the original countertops we spec'd. So I had my clients fall in love. I mean, I also fall in love with them. Salvage slate that came from a pool table. So my stone yard had them way, way, way in the back of their warehouse, and they were beautiful patinaed, great slate. And when we were getting ready to install them, unfortunately, each slab was just like a different variation of green. So I ran to the stone yard and I was able to find 2 options of marble. And I texted my clients and like, hey, we can't use our original countertops. 24 hours, give me a decision. Which one do you like more? And we ultimately decided on this beautiful quartzite, which is a very expensive marble, but believe it or not, these are remnants. This stone was used for another kitchen that I didn't design, but we were able to get them for a fraction of the cost and while still staying within budget. Honestly, I think it looks even better. So another area that we use salvage marble is our floating shelf. I love being able to integrate open shelving in any of my projects, and I thought it'd be really interesting to not just add wood, but also use marble. So this is a dark green soapstone that flows from one side of the kitchen all the way to the other side of the kitchen. It makes the space feel a lot larger, and especially when it comes to displaying all of your things, it just adds a lot of visual interest. And what also makes this moment feel just so custom is that we did both open and closed upper cabinets, but the marble runs underneath both cabinets. So when you open this door, you get that peekaboo moment of the stone, which I thought was really clever and kind of neat, if I say so for myself. I've always considered hardware as the jewelry to any space. And for this particular design, since we went with a lot of earthy palettes, I went with a couple different hardware selections. So for our base cabinets and our uppers, I went with a really awesome hardware from Schoolhouse. It is their Remy pools and the color is in butterscotch. I've also always loved this particular hardware because it is vintage inspired and it feels really great on the hand. For the other hardware selections, I went with brass. So I love integrating different types of metals and texture, and adding a brass, especially an unfinished brass, it's going to age as my clients use this home. And I think, again, that's what makes the space feel so authentic. And it just pops against the dark backsplash, which I think is so stunning. And especially when the afternoon light comes in, it's absolutely gorgeous. Working with some audio issues, let's talk about some of my favorite details, the lighting. Personally, I love mixing past lighting and sconces because those little touches make a room feel complete. Trust me. For the ceiling light, we went with a handmade brass flush mount. Yes, from Etsy, believe it or not. In the eating nook, we installed a pendant from Brooklyn-based designer Uncommon With, finished in a bone color that complements the monochromatic walls and ceiling. And for the sconces, we chose RBW, one of my go-tos for sconces. Now let's talk about floors, the real star of the kitchen. We sourced them from Zia Tile. Instead of sticking with just one, we combined 2 tiles to create this unique checkered pattern. It adds a playful element to design while also balancing all the earthy, contrasting tones in the space. Honestly, 10 out of 10, this might just be my favorite part of the entire project. And that pretty much wraps up our latest kitchen renovation located in the University District in Detroit, Michigan. I had such a great time bringing you guys along all the design decisions and some of the custom millwork that our team designed and built. When it comes to creating spaces like this is what I truly love to do. And being able to create authentic space while using authentic materials is honestly why we do what we do. So hopefully you love this video and you want to check us out on all of our other social channels because there are a ton more projects, a lot more kitchens, a lot of full home interiors, and I cannot wait to bring you along on the journey. So thanks for watching and take it easy.